Welcome. Thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Sarah, my pronouns are she, her, and this is a channel about the cross-stitch projects I'm working on and the cross-stitch patterns I design. You can find me as ModCross on Etsy and Instagram, and links to all the places you can find me and all the projects I talk about today are in the description box below. And all the projects I talk about today are going to be all my projects, because this is Flosstube number 3 and it's my WIP Parade. So WIP, W-I-P, stands for Works in Progress. As of today, Monday, February 13th, 2023, I have 19 WIPs, which is not as many as I thought. If you watched my last video, you know that this past weekend was my birthday, and instead of having a new birthday start, I was going to see how many of my WIPs I could get at least one length of floss in, and also see how many WIPs I had. I envied the people with organized lists and spreadsheets and things, and so I didn't get to touch as many projects as I wanted to. It was a very busy weekend with family and the farm, but I did get to stitch on 7, and I did get out all of my WIPs, and I did make my spreadsheet. So everything's out. Some of the things even got ironed. I know, they needed it. And now they're here to show you. So settle in for WIP Parade. Again, it's only 19, and I could only find 18, but I know there's a 19th somewhere. And I hope you enjoy. So first, I'm going to do my one gift stitch that I have going for someone that watches. So Dad, I'm going to make this easy for you. I'm going to do it first. So just close your eyes and plug your ears or scooch out of the room for a few minutes, and I'll do yours first. My parents watched my last Flosstube together when I showed my start, and my dad didn't think I was serious, that he needed to leave the room, but my mom made him, so thank you, Mom. So first up, this is going to be for my dad's birthday in May. This is the Saturn V, it's not blueprint, I forget what the official name is. It's the Saturn V rocket blueprint by Lord Libidan, and the Etsy shop is XStitchCollective. So that is what it will look like. I thought it would stitch up fast. I hoped it would stitch up fast, and it's been doing pretty well. I'm starting in the top right corner, and that is where I'm at. And I haven't put as many days as I was hoping into it, so actually it is stitching up pretty quickly. This is on 32 count Blue Moon Lugana, or linen, 32 count Blue Moon linen from Witchelt, and using DMC Blanc, 2 strands. So really happy with how that's going. I think I'm gonna go as far down the right side as I can, at least finishing this section. And then I'd like to get over and get into the full stitches there just to make sure I can get them done in time. Okay, Dad, you can come back. I'm also watching the baby monitor for my 3-year-old to wake up. So the next WIP I have is actually the one model stitch that I have going right now, and it's been going on for so long, I figure I'll just show it as a motivation to get it done. It's so close. It's so close. I have a pattern called Marigold Bloom that is out and available. Oh, I should have the I was not prepared. Hang on. Hi, Wednesday morning Sarah here, interrupting Monday morning Sarah's WIP Parade. Because when I moved the video files from my phone to my computer to put everything together, this middle section was corrupted somehow and wouldn't transfer over. So we are re-recording. I made it to my 3rd video without having any computer problems. So I guess this is a good Flosstube milestone to reach. So the reason that I had stopped the video was to go get a copy of my Marigold Bloom pattern, because I was not prepared and self-promotion is weird. So this is the first of the Bloom series. This is Marigold Bloom, and the model is at my local needlework shop, which is Criss Stitchery in Iowa Falls, Iowa. I'll put the phone number down below. She does not have an online ordering system, but she will take your phone call and ship anywhere that I know of, and she has hard copies of quite a few of my patterns. So if you're a hard copy person and you would like Marigold Bloom, it is there and available. And so this was the first in my series, taking from a picture in my garden and making it into a small, manageable, full coverage piece. So there's no background, but the flower itself is full coverage. This uses 8 colors of DMC. And I really made an effort to keep everything in big blocks of color, to not have those confetti or ninja stitches all over the place. So that's Marigold Bloom, and I'm working on the second in the series, which is Pansy Bloom, which is also taken from a photo. And it's been a WIP for a very long time, and it needs to be finished. And there it is. This is Pansy Bloom. All DMC, 13 colors at the moment. I may take it down to 12. It is on 36 count Luminous Warmth from Fortnite Fabrics. And if I don't specify with the rest of the WIPs, my sweet spot is 2 strands of floss on 18 count Aida and 36 count linen. So this is 2 strands, and most of the other projects are as well. So half of the colors, 6 of the 12, are shades of purple. And I love how it's looking. I just need to fill in this bottom petal, put the back stitching with the scientific name across the bottom, and then I think I'm going to do some reworking on the pink section. It's the first thing I stitched. I started in the top center, and I've been rethinking it in my head, but I have not committed to actually ripping out stitches yet. I'm thinking about taking the lightest pink out and making those solid sections of pink and just having 2. But we'll see what I decide, and I'm sure I'll talk more about it when I actually release the pattern. But that's Pansy Bloom. So that takes care of ModCross business. The rest are fun and gift stitches that don't require anyone to leave the room. So I have 2 big full coverage projects on the go. And if you watched my last video, you know that my goal for 2023 is to do 1,000 stitches on each per month. So the first was my New Year's start. This is Peacock. The artwork is by Elizabeth Welker, and it's charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. And it's big. It's real big. So I did hit 1,000 stitches on each in January. I exceeded my goals in January, actually. And so moving on to the February section, this was a lower right-hand corner start. And so in January, I did a lot of this kind of brown and gold section. And so in February, I'm moving over to start doing some of the dark. And I have about 200 stitches in February, and it's all 310. So there's spaces for some dark blue to come in that I will fill in, and then just kind of keep working up. Both full coverage pieces are on 18 count Aida. This is in a Mystic Gray. The Nessie needle minder is from Rebel Stitcher Designs. Colleen says, keep your chin up. So that is where Peacock is at. And then my second full coverage is Ripples from Julia at Electric City Stitches on Etsy. She uses her original artwork and then charts cross-stitch patterns from them. I started this for the new year 2022 and then restarted on an 18 count Aida in April of last year. It's a top left start, and so I finished the first page officially in January. Hooray. And so now I'm moving across, I'm going to move across the top. Just kind of following the swirls and the blocks of color. And I'm over 600 stitches in on the February count, because this has been my college basketball watching piece. So I can sit down and just get big blocks of color, and it's been really, really fun stitching. So you can kind of see the page break there, and then I'm moving over across the top. So many blues, a little smattering of green, and I love it. 2 strands, full cross, 18 count Aida. The needle minder was free with an order from Top Knot Stitcher Shop, Abby. So that is Ripples. So those are my full coverage pieces. I've been really happy with the 1,000 stitches a month. It's giving me the feeling of progress, but not being a super overwhelming number. It's been pretty manageable. So now we're going to move backwards in time, kind of. I'm going to go from my most recent starts and work my way back to the before times. I did find the tub that had most of my projects from back when I didn't know about local needlework shops or Flosstube or Instagram. And it was all kits from large craft stores. That was my cross-stitch world. So Monday, Sarah will take you back there, but we've got the current stuff right now. This is Sepideh from Marroomy Designs on Gumroad, Miriam. And I started this the morning after the winter solstice. So December of 2022. I was able to work on this over my birthday weekend. I had to frog a little bit of where I was on the moon. I miscounted when I started coming down. So it was a minor frog, a tiny frog, a little tadpole visited. And then I was able to put in a full strand on the moon. This is on 36 count winter solstice linen from Fabrics by Stephanie. And it's, every time I pull this out, I have to look at it for a little. Do you ever pull that out, something out, and you just have to look at it for a while before you can play with it? And the floss is all silver petite treasure braid. It's PB04. And I have been using thread wax, beeswaxer with the floss, and haven't been having many problems. It's a little slippery on the needle. Sometimes the needle will slip off as you pull it through, but it's not too much of a hassle. And it's beautiful. Cannot argue with the results. Sepideh. So the day before I started that, on the official first day of winter, I started gathering snowflakes from Luminous Fiber Arts. This is a series. This is the second one of the series that I've started. Each one includes at least one button in the design, but Misty has actually charted 2 versions in the booklet. You can have one with the button or one without. So if you want to fill that in with stitches, that is charted for you. I'm going to do the button version. And if you remember from last time, this was what I referred to as my potty training WIP, because my 3-year-old we've been going through potty training, and it's great to pick up, put down, pick up, put down, get some comforting monochromatic stitching in. And actually this is further along today than you would have seen it from Monday. So that's a win. I worked on it during piano lessons on Monday and dance lessons on Tuesday. And so I filled in more of the hat, and then I started bringing the snowman's face down a little bit and around. So I'm going to continue this down to make sure that I hit the bottom border at the right point, and then we'll bring the rest of the side borders down to meet it. This is on 36 count swank linen from Fortnite Fabrics, and it's in the called for Belsois silk floss in Mare Blue. My skein is not quite as variegated as the cover model, and it's a little deeper in color, but I really like it. I don't mind at all. I think that's really nice. So like I said, I'm going to carry this around and then do the bottom border, because that's pretty heavy stitching, and then I think I'm going to save the snowman's face for last, just for fun. And then on the first day of autumn last year, I started my first one from the series, which is gathering acorns. And the called for floss for this one is Belsois Paprika, which is what I'm using. I did not have quite as roaring a start to this one. Autumn was incredibly busy, but I did get enough of the border done that I could measure off of it for starting gathering snowflakes, because they're all on one big piece of fabric for the moment. And I did work on this over my birthday weekend. This is where I'm at. I had a very small start to the bird's tail, and so I was able to bring that up and over and do the little bird feet. A little ode to February there. So that is where we're at on gathering acorns. Misty, the designer, did a sneak peek for a new gathering installment in the series, I believe to come out at Nashville Needlework Market in a few weeks, and the preview was bright pink, which is going to be out of my wheelhouse, but that's kind of fun. I like doing things that are different. And so I can't wait to see what that one's going to be, because I'm a completionist. If I start a series, I'm going to want to stitch all of them. So my other fall WIP from last year that is not yet finished is this beauty. This is Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Mathews. And when I saw this, I had to have it. It was an incredibly strong reaction to seeing a pattern for the first time. And it calls for a needle and flax linen in the color Steinbeck. And I knew that my local needlework shop had some needle and flax, which is exciting because they're a smaller dyer, and my local needlework shop is small and new. She opened in December 2020, which was not the optimal time for opening a brick and mortar shop. And so a lot of supply chain issues and trouble getting on people's lists to be a wholesaler because there just wasn't a lot of product to go around. And so she's still building her inventory, and it's been fun to watch her be able to grow and start carrying new things. And so I knew she had some needle and flax linen. And so when I pre-ordered the pattern for Needlework Expo last fall, I said, you know, do you still have some linen? And she says, well, we have one color and it's Steinbeck, which is what Autumn Cloche calls for. And so I said, great. I will get the linen as well. And so I worked on this a lot during college football season. And, oh, I love it. I love it so much. So this was another lower right-hand corner start. And it's in 6 pages. And so I'm almost all the way up to the page break, and I am as far over as it goes. And I think I'm going to do the bottom row of pages first, get that base done, get most of the pumpkin stuff done, and then maybe it'll be a little quicker to the finish after that, going across the top. So that's the idea. So 36 count Steinbeck from Needle and Flax, 2 strands, and I'm using the suggested DMC conversion with a few changes. So the oranges are the called for DMC, the grays are the called for DMC, and this red is called for. The purple is a substitution. So when I looked at this picture, I mean, it's striking. And then I pulled the suggested colors. It's charted in NPI, needlepoint silk, and the Liz always includes a DMC conversion. And when I pulled the colors, there's no blue. It's all grays and browns, and it just wasn't the impression that I'd gotten from the photo. I think the white balance may be just a little heavier on the blue tone because of the staging, maybe. And I mean, I'm sure it's beautiful. I mean, browns and grays and blues, it's very fall, but I really wanted a little more blue and purple, especially in the flowers and the butterflies. And so I substituted this purple for what was called for. And if you're interested, let me know in the comments and I can get that for you. And then I also took one of the grays. I think maybe I'm going to make the medium gray into a deep blue on some of the butterflies and the flowers. I haven't gotten to any of that yet that I was thinking about changing. But this purple is definitely different, and I think maybe either this green or this brown may also be an uncalled for color. But it's gorgeous. I love it so much, and I got the fabric cut to size, and so it's going to be, you know, you feel like you make so much progress and then you open up the piece of fabric. I just shouldn't. No, we're just going to keep things neatly folded up for now, because like this looks so much better, right? Look how much I've done. This needle minder I think I got from someone at StitchCon, and I'm sorry I don't remember who. Please let me know if it's you. So that's Autumn Cloche by Hello from Liz Mathews. The fastest I've ever gone from buying something or picking something up at the shop to putting the first stitches in. It was that night. It was happening. I was determined. So my next piece is a birth sampler for my younger daughter, who just turned 3. And I had started kind of a babyish farm animals dimensions kit, which is the same one that I stitched for my older daughter, who's 9. And I went back to it, and I just was like, you know, there's so many patterns out there now that I know about. I've already stitched this once. Maybe I'll do something a little different for her. And so I looked around and I found Note de Stelle by Madame Chantilly. She is Italian, and so I may have butchered both the title and her name, and I apologize for that. But just the little girl and the falling star and the flowers. I just love it. And this is a verse. It's in Italian on the model, but the pattern does include an English version. I will try to read it without flashing the actual pattern. It says, "Wisdom is to have dreams big enough not to lose sight when we pursue them." Which is a lovely sentiment, but also I won't be using it because I'll use the letters that are charted to help chart her name and birthday and weight and length and all the birth stats in there. And so this is where I am. So I've got almost all the way down the side on the flowers, on the left side of flowers. And then I'll start to go over. And then I filled in a lot of the stars during the hashtag Moon and Stars for PK Sal that Nithya of Daybreak Stitchery and Miriam of Marroomy Crafts were running for Pakistan Relief. It's beautiful. This is 36 count Winter Wishes from Fabrics by Stephanie, and it's a fabulous gray. It's possibly my perfect gray. This is all DMC called for, except for the stars. I did B5200 instead of Blanc because I just needed them to show up a little bit more on the gray that I chose. And my favorite part of this are the flowers. That is all one color red. That is a DMC red. There's two colors of green and brown in the center and then down for the stems. But all that variation in the flowers is all shape and negative space and just fabulous designing. It's a beautiful pattern, and it's really fun to stitch as a stitcher, and it's something to study and admire as a designer. So a double win for this one. I would like to say my goal is to get that done before she turns 4. She just had her birthday. It's middle of January. I feel like that's a bold claim. I'm not sure that's going to happen. Maybe by the time she starts kindergarten. Maybe we'll do that. So that's Note de Stelle by Madame Chantilly. And then last summer for Pride Month, Jacob at Modern Folk Embroidery released Move Forward in Love. It is a color. There's many, many colors that the grayscale printout doesn't show. And I really pushed to get the center medallion done during Pride. There was a stitch along going, I think through last August. And so I did get the center medallion done and then started out on the branches. So this fabric, this is the 28 count Lugana in lamb's wool color that I bought originally for the Ripples full coverage pattern. So I have a lot of it. And so whenever I'm starting something new, it's like, I wonder if this would look good on 28 count Lugana. And so I decided to try doing 1/1. And so the medallion is 2 strands, half stitch or 10th stitch. There's a difference with how the thread travels on the back. I'm not actually sure what the difference is, but from the front, it's the same thing. Half stitch or 10th stitch, 2 strands over 1 on 28 count. And then when it came time to start doing the vines, something about trying to count diagonally with just half stitches broke my brain. I was like, I don't understand. Somehow it just does not compute. And so the vines are 1 strand full cross on 28 count over 1. So we'll see when I get to the flowers and the birds to put those in. I might go back to the 2-strand half stitch for the colored pieces and then just have the vines as 1/1. We'll see, who knows. But I'm also going to cut the pattern off at the corners. So I won't do the corner flowers. I'll stop stitching after the burbs so that the final piece will mimic that center medallion shape. So that's the plan with Move Forward in Love. I would love to get this done this coming summer during Pride. Although, Pride 365, as Dee would say. Okay, that brings us to my birthday start from last year, birthday 2022. And it's, oh, I love this. It is Opening Gambit by Long Dog Samplers. It's my first Long Dog. And it is classic, just comfort monochromatic stitching. And so when I was kitting this up, I was really looking for something that would give a black on white feel, but not be black on white. And Monday Sarah is about to go into the floss that I found. Just a second, sweetie, I'm almost done. And so I was looking for a color that would look black until you got really close, and then you would see that it was a color. This. You like this? Mm-hmm. Me too. And so I decided to look for a really deep purple.
Well, I have a move.
Very nice.
Well, see?
I do see. So I decided to look for a really deep purple, and I found a Silks For You color that I thought would work. And it was described as a purple to teal that had been overdyed with black. And so I stopped the video on my original recording to go get the hank of this floss. And so that's where we're gonna pick up next. But I did forget to tell you the number for it. It is Silks For You PR 124. So I'm gonna throw it back to Monday Sarah and hope and pray that this version transfers over, and then I can get this WIP Parade uploaded for you. So over to Monday Sarah and her hank of Silks For You. So I found a Silks For You that looked black, but is purple and teal with black kind of an overdye on it. And it looked fairly black in the photo, and the photo disclaimer was always, colors may look brighter in the photo. And I thought, oh, well, it looks pretty dark to me, so that should be a safe bet. And then it came, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful, but it's not black. It's not super dark. You don't have to get very close to say, yeah, that's teal and purple, which again, it's gorgeous. It's beautiful. It's just not what I had in mind. And so I thought about it, and I decided to use the purple segments on a gray fabric with kind of purple blue tones. And then I'll save that amazing teal for something else. And so it's cutting out the purple gives me fairly short segments. They're about this long. And so that's a little frustrating when working on it, because I mean, it's a long dog. It's monochromatic. You can just get into the flow, except when you run out of floss after 10 stitches. It's not 10 stitches. It's not that bad. I'm being dramatic. So this was another top right corner start. And here is where I'm at. Not very far. A whole year. Not very far. But far enough to know that I love it. It's amazing. I love watching the letters coming out, the little creatures. Look at that bird on the E. Look at it. This fabric is incredible. This is 36 count shark fin from Fortnite Fabrics. And it has, you can tell that it's gray, but you can also clearly tell that there's a blue purple undertone. And when you put purple floss on it, oh, mwah, it's just spectacular. Okay, 3-year-old's awake. So this is as far over as the page goes. I think it's 9 pages. And then the first page, the page break will get me most of the balloon, the hot air balloon. So I'd really like to at least get a page done on this year. So that is Opening Gambit from Long Dog Samplers. My first Long Dog. I love it. So then I had 2 new starts for New Year's 2022. 2 stitch-alongs that are still WIPs. But at least this one is almost done. It's so close. This is Kind Kapal number 4 from Java Cross Stitch on Etsy. She's an Indonesian designer, and this is based on traditional Indonesian sailcloths. This was a Sal stitch-along. Sal started by Nithya of Daybreak Stitchery. How have I gotten this far in a WIP Parade in a Flosstube video and not mentioned Nithya? This was Nithya's stitch-along, and she broke the pattern up into 12 sections to do 1 a month. It was fabulous in theory, and I actually came close. I really did. I had to play catch up on a couple months, but I'm so close. I just have the bottom bands of border to do. So it was like a January, February. I know I did the side border, the March section, at my sister's house after my niece was born. So that was almost a year ago. I worked on it at StitchCon. We were on one of the center motifs. And I caught up in October, in the fall, finished this big ship. And then just November and December got away from me, and I didn't finish it on the schedule, but it's very close. This will be a finish this year. This will not be in the WIP Parade next year. This needs to be done. It's so beautiful. It's called for DMC. There's 3 or 4 different blues and then this beautiful kind of rust color. And it's on 36 count paper bark from Fox and Rabbit Designs, which is a fabulous, fabulous neutral. So that is Kind Kapal. And I know Nithya's finished hers, and Miriam from Marroomy Crafts finished hers. So I need to finish mine. The other brilliant idea I had was Where Flowers Bloom, which was a year-long stitch-along from Just Cross Stitch magazine. I believe it was in the 2021 issues. And it's a band sampler of specialty stitches. And so after watching Sheila from Sunshine Stitchers and a couple other people talk about eyelets and 4-sided stitch and doing all of these specialty stitches, I thought, well, maybe that would be a good way to give some a try and to learn them. And so I picked which bands would be which months, and I got about halfway through the year. I think I made it to June. So that is as far as I got. So yeah, the top 2 are, I think, single and double herringbone stitches. I did those in January, February, maybe March. Got to do some eyelets finally. These beautiful flowers. I think this is cashmere stitch. And then these kind of eyelet flowers. So this is a 28 count Jobelin and Star Sapphire. I believe it's a Witcholt fabric, and all the silk is from Almond M&Ms from Ymir. She did a May Flowers collection, and I snapped that up immediately. And I thought this would be a great way to use those. So those are my specialty stitches. It has been really fun to learn them and to practice, looking at the eyelets on the starting side versus the eyelets on the far side. It's like, yes, progress is being made. So I do want to get back to this. I'm not feeling a huge pull toward it. But I do want to finish it, and I wish that I would have thought to leave a little more room on the side to actually backstitch in what the stitches are, because obviously I can't remember exactly. So yeah, would like to get back to it, but it's not immediately on my radar. So this project, oh, I need to get back to this project. Isn't this amazing? This is Butterfly Sampler in Beautiful Blue from Cross Stitch Rinna, R-I-N-N-A, on Etsy. And I believe she's also from Indonesia. She's another designer. And I found her because Abby Bella Stitch on Instagram and Flosstube started hashtag Stitch Asia, I believe in 2021. There was a lot of hate and aggression and animosity being directed at people of Asian descent due to COVID-19. And she wanted to highlight the amazing patterns and fabric dyers and designers and people of Asian descent and Asian heritage. And I found Cross Stitch Rinna, and this is one of the 2 pieces that I started for that initial hashtag Stitch Asia, which I believe was March of 2021. And I started in the center. This was a center start, and it's 9 pages. And so this middle page was the heaviest stitching. And so I've gotten that done. I did get a page finish. And so this year I want to go up and I want to go down and finish the center column, which I think is very doable. Their Butterfly Sampler, there's a green version, which is kind of shocking that I didn't go for the green version. That's my favorite color. But I liked the motifs and the look of the blues and purples. I believe there's also a pink version. So check out her Etsy. And so this is what I have so far, and I love it. This one in Autumn Cloche I really wanted to get to over my birthday weekend, and I didn't. And so maybe this will be a March focus piece for its anniversary. It's called for DMC with the changes of this darkest color is actually étoile. It's 823, but in étoile, just so the outline is sparkly. And then this kind of bluish green color I added, just kind of in spots that I think it would look good. So it's a little bit sparkly. It's a lot of it beautiful. It's on 18 count jade from Picture This Plus, which is a fabulous fabric. I love everything about this. And I really want to get back to it. It's beautiful. And you know it is because it's in the name. Butterfly Sampler, Beautiful Blue by Cross Stitch Rinna. So the second piece that I started for hashtag Stitch Asia back in 2021, I finished, but it's the first in a series. And so I thought I would show it so you can see what they look like. So this is a series. It's a series of 4, and they're all Rosie the Riveters, but women of color and diverse backgrounds. So this is the one that I started and finished for hashtag Stitch Asia. And then I started the second one. She's here. And she's beautiful. I love her face. She's stunning. These are from Esperanza, who is Art and Punt. Art, E-N-P-U-N-T on Instagram. And she put these out as just a free design on an Instagram post. And I messaged her and she sent me larger PDF versions of them. But she designs a lot of cross-stitch kits based on artwork, and she designs them for the museums where the artwork is displayed. So for gift shops and things, I believe. So she does a lot of really amazing work. And she just worked up this series of 4 and provided it for free. So the post was several years ago now. But if you message her, A-R-T-E-N-P-U-N-T, it's Esperanza, and ask, I'm sure she still has them. They are on 16 count Tweety Bird Yellow from My Vintage Needle Arts. It's fairly stiff Aida. if that's a problem or if that's your jam. Because I cut all the pieces to size and stitch them in hand, I don't mind that it's a little bit stiff, but it definitely, you know, wears on the floss a little bit. So those are my diverse rosies. I can't wait to have all 4 of them done so I can hang them in my daughter's room. I'm going to finish them as individual little ornament hangers. So now we're getting into some questionable whips. So this one, I'm not going to show a cover photo or give the designer name because it's not a shop that I shop from anymore. And I started it as a gift, and I don't think I'm going to finish it. It's a full coverage. This is, I think, 18 count Ada. And this is as far as I've gotten, and I think that's as far as I'm going to take this. It's a gift that does not have a specific timeline on it. And I think that now that I know so many more designers and I know so much more of what's out there, I think I can find something that maybe fits with this couple's aesthetic a little bit better. And I think we're going to let that one go. And it's not that much stitching, so I can cut off the top and still have a fairly good piece of 18 count Ada for something else. So that's going to be my one kind of unfinished object that I'm officially taking off the WIP list. So that would get us down to 18. Huzzah. So now we have 2 kits that I found that I started in the before times. So these are, I would say, at least 10 years old, 8 to 10. The first is Feeding Frenzy, the designed by Marilee Carroll for Sunset Counted Cross Stitch, and the copyright is 2000, which doesn't seem like it should be that long ago, and then you do the math and it's like, oh, that was 23 years ago. And it's going to be beautiful. I did a center start. So it's this bird right here, and I'm pointing it out because you are not going to be able to tell from the blazing start that I have on this. This is it. It's a whole decade of progress right here. You got the hoop mark. Oh, it's like a living time capsule. There it is. Blazing start. This was also going to be a gift. It probably still will be. It might be to a different person now. That's how far we've come in life. But I do have some very avid bird watchers in my life, and so that would be good for some of them. I wasn't sure when I opened this tub of past things if I would still feel like, yeah, I still like that, or yeah, I could see myself finishing that someday, or, you know, picking that up, or if it was going to be like, nope, this just isn't me anymore. And I think with both of these, I really do see myself working on that someday. I'm not sure when it's going to happen, but I think I am going to hang on to them. This is my oldest WIP for sure. And I have a fair amount done. This, like, everybody needs a Christmas stocking, right? Everybody has some Christmas stocking in their plans. This is Sleigh Ride at Dusk, and it is, sorry about the glare, it's a gold collection from Dimensions. It's beautiful, obviously. That hasn't changed. And, I mean, this, look, masking tape on the edge. Like, this is how old we're talking here. And that is where I've gotten to. So it's basically up to the name section with all that dark, and then the name. And then down, I got the church in there. Lots of half stitches, lots of color changes. It was kind of fun to pull this out and look at it. I was originally stitching it for my husband, but by this point we've been married 13 years, and like, we have stockings. He has a stocking. So it would almost seem strange to change it up now. But I do think I'll work on this. Maybe I'll have to figure out a month with lots of stitching time and make sure I go back to some of the older stuff, I think. I know, so the one WIP I'm missing, the one WIP I know that I'm missing is a tree skirt with similar artwork. It's by the same artist, and it's a Christmas tree skirt that it's a kind of a village scene that matches this. And I do not know where it is. I think it's in another tub with a unfinished latch hook project. And it may be in my mother-in-law's basement, and it may be in our storage, and I just didn't find it. So with the unfinished one, and even with the missing tree skirt, I think that's 18 WIPs, and I was thinking it was going to be in the 30s. So I don't really feel an emotion about the number. I just was surprised that it wasn't more, and it tells me that I've finished a lot of things that I started kind of in this new era of my stitching, and that feels really good. So I need to do a finish parade. A lot of my models are up at my local needlework shop, so I'll try and get those back and do a ModCross parade at some point. And I like watching parades, and I hope that you did too. So that's the encapsulation of my stitching as of now, WIP Parade 2023. So thank you so much for sticking with me. I will try and figure out a farm segment to put here. I usually, instead of a life update, I try to do a little bit of a glimpse into life on the farm here in central Iowa. And so I'll try and figure out something to do. If you are interested in the freebie that I put out last month for my last video, again, it's Stitchers Are Always Among Friends. This is a free pattern you can find at a link down below when you sign up for my ModCross newsletter. If you are interested, that would be amazing. Thank you to everybody who has. Thank you to everyone who has liked and subscribed and shared the videos and commented. Thank you so much for your comments. If I missed any information, fabric or floss, I'll try to put them on titles when I hold up the piece. Otherwise, please feel free to message me or ask questions or leave a comment, and I will let you know. So for now, let's see what I find for some farm segment. I'll probably go film some cute calves because you can never go wrong with the cute calves. So it's a beautiful sunny February day. And these are some of our bull calves. Hi boys. So most dairy farms want female calves because they will make milk someday. And so we take bull calves from friends and dairy farmers that we trust, that we know take good care of their animals. Hi. And then we feed them milk from our cows. Hi. And give them the best about 2 years of life that we can. And then we sell the beef. Hi. And the calves really like sunny days, especially in the winter, because so often it can be just so gloomy. So they're getting all the sunshine they can. They can run around, they got hay in the back, they've got waters, and then when it gets warmer and all the grass is green, then they get to go out and run around in the pasture out there. Right now it's about 40 degrees, and so we're right at the start of mud season, where everything is thawing out. Hi, you say hi to the peoples? They're so furry from their winter coats. So those are the boys. I feed them just about every morning. Okay, lastly, I have my up next segment, my recommendation for what to go watch next, and that is Miriam at Marroomy Designs. She is amazing. She has beautiful projects. She's designing amazing things, and if you don't already watch her, please go do so. She is fabulous. So my up next recommendation is Marroomy Designs or Marroomy Crafts. And other than that, thank you so much for joining me for my first ever WIP Parade. It'll be interesting to see if I have more or less this time next year. But it was a very fun way to spend my birthday weekend, to kind of go down memory lane a little bit and work on these beautiful things that I love so much. So thank you for joining me. Happy stitching. And as always, do what you can when you can. Bye.